continuation in the last few weeks that talks a lot about money. And last week we heard very clearly that one cannot serve God and wealth. And so our story today, we have two people. We have an unnamed rich man. And what do we know about this rich man?
Wasn't very generous.
Okay, wasn't very generous. What else do you know? What did he wear? Purple. Royalty. And he feasted, you remember that word? Sumptuously. Don't you love that word? He feasted sumptuously. All right, then we have this other person here, this named person. What's the named person? Lazarus. Interestingly enough, the only time someone in Jesus' parable is named, and it's the poor man Lazarus. What do we know about Lazarus? What's he dressed in? Rags. And what does he have all over his body? Sores. And what happens to those sores? Even the dogs left to lick it. Okay? Now they both die. What happens to Lazarus? The angels come and lift him to heaven. What happens to the rich man? Goes to Hades. He's buried, we're told. So this one the angels carry away. This one is buried. Sort of a whole reversal of fortunes. Or God turns the world upside down, which is another theme of this whole text. Now I wonder if the rich man ever even saw Lazarus at the gates up until now. You know, I don't think that, it's not like we hear that this rich man is like ignoring him or saying bad things about this guy at the gate. I mean, he doesn't send the guards to send him away. So my gut feeling is he doesn't even realize Lazarus is there. Until the next scene. Where's Lazarus? In heaven, next to Abraham. Where's the rich man? In Hades, in agony, tormented by flames. So now the rich man sees Lazarus. And what does he say to him? Father Abraham, can just send Lazarus to dip his finger in the water, bring it to me, and take me out of my torment. And what does Abraham say? I'll say Jesus one of these times instead of Abraham, so when I say Jesus, I really mean Abraham. But what does Abraham say? No, why? Can't cross this great chasm here, like this great island is a chasm, or this island's a chasm. No one can cross it. So then what does the rich man say? Well, if you can't bring me water, I got 5 brothers, go do what? Yeah, send Lazarus to go talk to my brothers so they don't end up here. But Abraham says, They've got Moses and the prophets. They don't listen to Moses and the prophets, neither will they listen to someone who has been raised from the dead. All right, so we have this whole reversal. On earth, we have the rich man who seems to have everything, Lazarus who has nothing. And then he dies, and it flips over. This gospel, I think, isn't so much about what happens, if we're good in this earth, that, we'll get bad things in heaven, or, if we have a rough life on earth, we'll get good things in heaven. I think the point is, what is it about this rich man that we have in common with him? Like I said, I don't think this rich man intentionally ignored Lazarus. I think it's worse. The rich man didn't even see Lazarus. It isn't such an active sin about ignoring and not doing for someone he sees. It's simply the indifference and the apathy towards anyone in need. Didn't even see Lazarus. This named person by Jesus in his parable, the rich man doesn't even see at his own gate. And sometimes we think this parable has nothing to do with us. Because I'm looking to see if anyone's dressed in purple. You're dressed in purple, aren't you? Not a whole lot of us are dressed in purple. There's a little purple back there. You're telling me right now I'm in blue. So, not a lot of us are dressed in purple here. Not a lot of us are palatial palaces, where we feast sumptuously. But yet, there are a lot of Lazaruses in our lives that we simply don't see. As I was reading for this text today, there was a story that I came across about a woman who I'm assuming was going to seminary. I make this up, but she lived in Minneapolis, and she was living in a small church apartment on the north side of Minneapolis, in an area of town that parents knew probably wouldn't have been happy that her daughter and friends were living there. It was a part of the city that was very much known for poverty and crime. And they got this apartment free. All they had to do was unlock the doors in the morning, lock the doors at night, after doing a little run-through to make sure that no one homeless or any of the seedy characters of the community had gotten into the church and planned to stay there for the night. It seemed like, everyone praised them for the work they had done. Except the reality was, these women never really saw the people of the community. They unlocked the doors in the morning, went over to the other side of town, did their studies and their socializing well into the evening, to where the community who gathered there for a soup kitchen and stuff would be all gone. And if by chance they were to come home while the line was still present, they would kind of go around and find their way through the side door to sort of avoid the people of the community. Now, she would liken it that, she just didn't want to be disruptive or whatever. The reality was, as with many of us, she was actually afraid of the people in the community. Well, this all worked out very well until one day she came home early, and a man that was standing in line for the soup kitchen sort of broke out of line, went over to her and started screaming at her. To which she finally had to look up and look into his eyes and realize this was the first time she'd seen anyone from the community. She had just simply ignored them. It wasn't so much that she intentionally did it. She just found that it was easier that way, to just simply ignore what was right in front of her all the time. Now, the interesting piece was her friends sort of said, "Oh, I'm so sorry you had to go through that." But it was a wake-up call for her, that there are Lazaruses in all our lives. Jesus gave us the commandment to love God and to love one another, and talks a lot in Scripture, particularly in the Gospel of Luke, about how money and possessions get in the way of that, how life sort of gets in the way. You cannot serve God and wealth, we heard last week. We know the man who came to him and said, "What must I do to be your disciple?" And he says, "You must sell everything and come and follow me." And the rich man walks away. In Bible study today, we heard, how can you say you love God and see a brother or sister in need? We cannot really serve God if we don't see those around us who are in need. And yet we still think that, well, we're not the guy in the big palace. We work day to day. Sometimes we live paycheck to paycheck. We're busy trying to get our kids through school and all the activities and my gosh, just to get food on the table. There's so much going on in life that we just are too busy sometimes to see what's in front of us. So, here is my jar of life. It's really rice, by the way. What's going on in our lives that keep us busy? What goes on in your life that keeps you busy, that keeps you occupied? Children? Did I hear children? What else? Job? School? Facebook. Now we're getting to the really things. Facebook. Candy Crush. What about camping? Video games, see? Reading. See, it could be good things. Reading.
Friends.
Huh? Friends? Math. Math keeps us really busy, doesn't it? Yeah. Sports? Are any of these things bad? Yeah, not even Candy Crush, just so you're clear on that. None of those things are bad. That is life. That's what fills our jar of life. Well, now you have this commandment. I need a volunteer. Come here, Miriam. All right, here are the things that God tells us to do. What does God tell us to do? Okay, put that in life. In there here. All right, and then what's the other thing we're supposed to do? Okay, you probably need to stand up here because they can't see. Okay, so put that in life. Oh, what happens? I bet I could even get this out pretty easily. Well, maybe not, but I can. life sort of pushes those things out, doesn't it? All right, now let's try this again. You hold this. It's a magic trick. The same rice, the same life. Okay, now, if we put our priorities in, what's the first thing we're supposed to do? Love God. Put love God in life. What's the next thing? Okay, now here comes your challenge. And I'll let you have this thing right here. You can come up here, Miriam. Okay, so we've got our priorities. Love God and love life. Where are you? You're hiding behind me, girl. Okay, put life in the life bucket again. These are the video games, this is school, this is math, all those things. And if you spill a little, it's okay. But try not to spill too much. Oh, there goes the driving the kids to and from activities, volleyball, soccer, math, cleaning the house. Now what happens? What happens when God and neighbors go before everything else? It's all in there, right? I think that, thank you, Miriam. You did not spill oh, you didn't. You should have seen, who helped me this morning? I can't remember. Huh? Oh, Greg. Yeah, Greg's got a lot of it, but she picked it up. Life fits when we keep our priorities straight. When we see that we love God and we love our neighbor first. Life fits. It all comes together. What I challenge you this week is to see who the Lazaruses are in your life that you have just simply missed, that you haven't seen, because you are too busy with life to really see and love your neighbor. Because one of the things I think about those who are in need is that they're not even seen. They're not heard. We don't even know they exist. We just simply ignore them. So who are the Lazaruses in your life that you need to have in front of you, that you need to see? And then my question to you is, how does the gospel call you to respond? Our themes this last week, almost since I've been here in August, has been God is turning this world upside down. Everything is turning over. And the world turns right side up when our priorities are straight. So we're going to sing the song Canticle of Turning. And the chorus goes something like, my heart shall sing of the day you bring. Let the fires of your justice burn. I'm trying to remember this. Da-la-la-la. For the world is about to turn. Don't do da-la-la-la when we sing it. We're going to sing the 4 verses of Canticle of Turning. And I encourage you, as you go this week, to set your priorities straight. Because God is turning this world upside down.